Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So the new rune system just came out, right? I'm sure most of you have been playing around with this or have seen it at least. There's a lot of options, right? It's very confusing, and I thought I'd make a video talking about essentially the rune pages, the best rune pages for all mid lane champions, right? Now, I'm not going to list one for every single champion specifically, but I did group them up. I have some specific pages to some champions as well, but it should cover pretty much every mid lane champion. So this will hopefully help you out if you're a mid lane player, or if you want some assistance just to kind of better understand them and stuff like that, because it's very specific to what champion you're playing and what lane you're playing. So let's go into that, but quickly I want to show you guys something else first. This video is going to be sponsored by Haste. It's a program that reduces your overall latency and ping in games such as League of Legends, Overwatch, by picking the best path to take, therefore giving you a lag-free experience. Haste is completely free to try, so there will be a link down below. Highly recommend checking it out. Alright, so let's jump into this, boys and girls. So the first page I want to talk to you guys about is going to be this kind of general page. Now this page, you can see at the top in the URL, I have them all listed there. So for this one, this is going to be more specific to champions like AP long range mages that offer CC or just have a long range poke consistently, and they also like a Zhonya's item. So for this one, we have Arcane Comet as our keystone, right? The reason for that is because champions like Ziggs, with the Q, it's great. With the Lux Q or Xerath E followed by the the barrage of abilities, it just guarantees that the Arcane Comet is going to hit. They also like to do a lot of AoE damage as well in their kits, and it just kind of complements them very well, in my opinion. So Arcane Comet is going to be the keystone of choice. Ultimate had by far probably the best, one of the best runes in all these runes, period. So I chose that personally, but the other option is going to be, any of these are actually fine, but I just personally think Ultimate Hat is probably better. Absolute Focus is going to be the one I like here the most. The second option is going to be Transcendence, but the reason I like Absolute Focus more is because they're long range mages. They're in the back, they're chilling. So unless you're facing an assassin, which where maybe this is a bit better, you'll be pretty full HP for the most of the time, right? You shouldn't be falling in HP too fast if you're playing correctly, since you're all the way in the complete backline. So a lot of extra damage here, it's nice. And then Gathering Storm is going to be kind of your safety net, in my opinion. It's very reliable, it's very nice to have, and I think it's great. If you don't want that, and if you want to have a bit more lane pressure and lane dominance, Scorch is going to be your best bet for that. So the next thing I took here is going to be Inspiration, because again, these are champions that like Zhonya's. So perfect timing for this free stopwatch and things like that is great. Cosmic Insight is going to be a fantastic rune as well. Just a very well-rounded, it gives you a lot of extra stats, and I personally like it a lot. The other options are going to be to replace Cosmic or this one with Magical Footwear. This is also pretty damn good. Or if you really want to, you can switch this out for the Sorcery path, or the Domination path rather, instead, and put something in there. But I think this is probably your best bet, honestly. So keeping that as that, let's jump into the next page. This is going to be for AP mid-range champions that like a Zhonya. So champions like Lissandra, Kennen, Swain, TF, right? You're going to see TF in several of these pages because he can fit into many of them. But for this one, is champions that are going to be kind of, somewhat in the middle of the battle, if you will, like Swain and Lissandra, right? They're all kind of in the middle of the battle. Kennen, they like to dive in sometimes as well. Arcane Comet, they have a lot of ways to follow up. Swain's W, Lissandra's, solid W ultimate, kind of ensure that the Comet will hit. They all have nice AoE damage, which Arcane Comet complements and things like that. Swain's W essentially guarantees it. Red card or gold card. Following that, the Ultimate Hat, fantastic. Again, love it. Great. Nullifying Orb is another great option though on Swain, Kennen. Since you're diving in there, Lissandra, this can help you kind of sustain a bit more damage if you want, or if you're feeling a bit more utility focused, this is probably the better option. Transcendence I like here a lot, since you'll be kind of in the middle of the fight. But if you're playing TF, Absolute Focus can work as well, though I still think this is probably better. And then Scorch is going to be your keystone of choice, or Gathering Storm, again similar to the previous page, right? And then same thing with this one, Cosmic Binding and Perfect Timing. Following this, let's talk about some AP burst mages, right? Champions that enjoy just to do a lot of damage, just throw it all out there and just hit someone really, really hard, really, really fast, right? So champions like Veigar, Ahri, again, TF, if you really want to play more assassin like Annie, Syndra, whatever. This one, I'm going to go Domination path, Electrocute. It's a lot of damage, it's very quick, it's easy to proc for these champions, it works tremendously. It's got a lot of base damage as well, it scales nicely. Following this, I went for Eyeball Collection just to get a bit of extra damage for these champions that enjoy having a lot of damage, but you can also swap this out for any of these two if you want to be a little bit, more utility focused. Following Taste of Blood just to give you a bit more lane pressure and lane dominance, just to get a little more sustained throughout it. But you can easily swap this out for Cheap Shot if you want, if you have a champion that works with it well. Like for instance, TF is not bad. Ahri I don't think is so good because it's too reliant on landing your charm, which won't always be the case. But either way, either of these is a good, just depending on the champion that you're playing. This one obviously is not. Ravenous Hunter is going to be your best one of the three, even though I think all three of them are fairly bad for these champions. This is probably your best one. Following that, the sorcery path is going to be your second path. Scorch, Absolute Focus, probably your best options. If you really want to, you can swap Scorch for Gathering Storm, or you can swap this one out for either Nullifying Orb or something like Transcendence, right? Either of those are perfectly fine. You can even go for Ultimate Hat as well. Also great. A lot of good options here, but for the sake of this video, I went for these two, and I think they're pretty consistent and pretty strong. Because Absolute Focus, while above 70% HP, you'll hit them before they hit you is the idea. So you'll be able to activate this effect of this ability as you unleash your full load XD before they hit you back. Following this, we have a page for AP mid laners that want movement speed, right? Vladimir, Cassiopeia, Ryze, Taliyah, again, Twisted Fate. Champions that used to run Storm Raider Surge will run this page, or will probably run this page. So for this one, I ended up going Phase Rush, right? Obviously, this one is the one that gives you the movement speed. Fantastic. Keystone. Nullifying Orb for these champions, great since they're very mobile and they're very susceptible. They're very kind of easy sometimes to get on top of, like Cassiopeia, for instance. So this will help you get, rather absorb a bit of damage. Celerity for the extra movement speed, since we're focused on movement speed for this one. And Gathering Storm for the safety nets, or you can go for either of these two. It really doesn't matter. Again, if you want to kind of make the movement speed even more prominent, Water Walking is great, but I like Gathering Storm personally. Domination is going to be the next one. Taste of Blood, followed by Ravenous Hunter. Next, we have AP mids that would like to shield. So Lux, Orianna, Lulu for mid lane, you know, Summon Ares is great for these champions because it works fantastically for the extra damage when it hits someone, and also when you shield someone, like Lux's W, Ori's E, Lulu's W or E, I forgot which one it is. You know, it's great. It works with them so well, right? Followed by Ultimate Hat. I love it. It's great. Transcendence, Gathering Storm, all fantastic options, followed by Cosmic Insight and Perfect Timing. I personally like those a lot. Then if you're playing an AP assassin mid lane, like Akali, Echo, Fizz, LeBlanc, Domination Path is the way to go. Electrocute, of course, naturally, assassins would like to do a lot of damage very quickly. Electrocute combines them, gives them the extra damage that they want. Essentially, it's the old Thunderlords. Eyeball Collection for the extra damage. We have Sudden Impact for these champions because what? LeBlanc, Fizz, Echo, Akali, they all have dashes. What does Sudden Impact do? Upon using a dash, extra 5% for 3 seconds. It looks pretty good to me. Ravenous Hunter. Again, even though I think all these are pretty bad for them, I don't really think these are all that good, honestly. I don't like these that much, but Ravenous Hunter is your best option, followed by Scorch and Nullifying Orb in this path. Again, replace that, not a problem, with something like Gathering Storm for that kind of ensured late game damage so that the assassin doesn't fall off. Great option. Transcendence, I mean, who doesn't like CDR, etc., right? A lot of options there, so kind of pick which one you prefer based on the matchup, based on the game, based on what you're facing, and which of the champions you're playing, because, you know, these lists or these pages are for several champions. And then the final one is going to be somewhat of a wacky page, but this one, I wanted to make an inspiration page. It's a really interesting page, a rune, I guess, option. So this one's going to be for champions that enjoy taking Hextech items, Hextech Gunblade, Hextech GLP, Protobelt. So champions like Swain, Echo, LeBlanc, Ahri, right? They all can take it. Swain, probably a little bit of an awkward pick, but you can take GLP on him. It's not bad. Instead of Roa, could work pretty well. But either way, Glacial Augment works with these champions because of the second effect. You can see there, slowing a champion with active items shoots a freeze ray. And what does that do? It slows them by a lot. And what does that do for your champions? Swain helps you land your W. Echo helps you land your W. LeBlanc helps you land your E. Ahri helps you land your E. Great, it's fantastic, it works well. Biscuit Delivery helps your lane phase that much more, that you can replace this with Perfect Timing instead if you want. By the way, this is pretty shit, pretty garbage. Don't take this one unless you're playing like very specific champions. This is extremely specific to some champions. Magical Footwear I think is great. I think it works perfectly fine. You can also take any of these ones, though these ones are a little bit weird and wacky, so to be safe, take this. Cosmic Insight I think is probably the best one, though you can definitely take probably Celestial Body for Swain, but maybe Echo. But I think this is just probably the best one to take for this page. Following that, Ultimate Hat and Gathering Storm are the options I went here. Or if you're going to stack a lot of CDR, especially while getting Cosmic Insight, Transcendence is great to replace for one of these two as well. Now, let's talk about some very specific pages for specific champions in a mid lane. The first of which is going to be Yasuo. We have the Precision Path for Yasuo. Press the Attack is going to be the keystone of choice for this one. I think it's quite obvious. This is essentially the old Fervor of Battle, just better. And Yasuo is going to be sticking onto his target, just constantly auto attack you, right? Stack it up very quickly. He can do that with the attack speed that you get as well from Alacrity. It's fantastic. It really is. So you can go Lethal Tempo if you want, though I think that's kind of overdoing it. Press the Attack will be most likely your option, or your keystone of choice. Triumph is pretty good, though I think all of these are pretty bad, honestly. You obviously don't want this. Triumph is okay. Overheal is okay if you get early lifesteal on Yasuo with the Bloodthirster or Blade the Rune King or whatever. It could be good. But Triumph, for the sake of this video, Legend, Alacrity, probably your best choice, because the lifesteal one is honestly pretty bad. I think it's pretty bad. It's not very good, especially compared to these two. These two are just by far better. And then Cut Down or Coup de Grace are going to be your main options. This is pretty bad. I don't think you should ever take this. I think these are just probably better. This isn't bad, but I think these are just better. Cut Down if you have a lot of tanky champions you're facing. Coup de Grace if you have not, I guess, a lot of tanky champions. And then Ravenous Hunter and Sudden Impact for Yasuo, because Sudden Impact is just so good with his E. It's fantastic. Following this, we have a Zed and Talon page. Now, this is going to be the Talon page you're looking at right now. Predator, of course, you know, being fantastic on Talon, working for him just wonderfully. Ghost Poro for extra vision control when you're split pushing, or Eyeball Collection for extra damage. Sudden Impact, obvious reasons, I think. And then Relentless Hunter, obvious reasons as well. Followed by Sorcery Path, getting Water Walking and Celerity on Talon. It works wonders. But for Zed, if you're running, if you're playing Zed, Electrocute is going to be probably better. One of these two as well for Zed, or any of these three really. Sudden Impact with Zed's W, I'm assuming an ultimate should work. If not, you can also go for maybe something like Cheap Shot with his ability, which I'm assuming works. And then for Sorcery Path, you can go with Zed. I don't really like Water Walking on Zed too much. Ultimate Hat sounds pretty good, actually. And Celerity is actually pretty good as well, so you can go for one of those, or you can replace one of them for Scorch, or you can even go Gathering Storm if you want to get that kind of late game assurance on Zed. And the final page is going to be for Azir, Precision, Lethal Tempo for the extra attack speed, because Azir loves attack speed in my opinion. Triumph or Overheal, though that don't actually, Overheal won't make much sense. Never mind. Triumph is probably your best one, because everything else is just really bad. Alacrity for the extra attack speed, and again, much like Yasuo, just depending on what you're facing, excuse me, you'll take one of those two. And then for Azir, Gathering Storm, the late game power is just completely insured with a Nullifying Orb, which will help Azir because he kind of goes into the middle of the battle now with his E, which will help and synergize with your E nicely. But you can replace that with Transcendence if you really want to, or even Absolute Focus if you're playing very, very safe. But either way, guys, that's going to be it for this video. There you have it, the new runes for pretty much every mid laner. Again, it kind of just depends on who you're facing or who you're playing specifically and what you're facing. You'll swap out, you know, one or two here and there, maybe just depending on the situation. But this should give you a pretty good rundown of pretty much every mid laner, right? They should all be categorized into one of these sections, or you have the very specific ones. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, if you thought it was useful and, you know, whatever, hit it with that like button. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. I'm excited for these rune pages. I hope you are as well. And I'll see you for the next video.